Good day everyone. So for this video, itatakal natin yung first topic natin for Power Plant 1, which is about the history and development of reciprocating engine. So let's start. So overview, ito yung mga madadaanan natin dito sa first topic natin. So first, we will have an introduction, and then we will discuss the history of reciprocating engines, reciprocating engine operating principles, types of reciprocating engines, engine cooling system, and engine identification and numbering system. So as an introduction, I assume na familiar naman tayo dito. So sa aircraft natin, meron tayong four forces of flight. Meron tayong lift, meron tayong weight, meron tayong drag, and then meron tayong thrust. So for this subject, for this course, Power Plant 1, magfo-focus tayo dito sa thrust. Since ang reciprocating engine natin, yung engine natin, mainly focus siya sa thrust, sa pag-produce ng thrust. And then, as we know, important ang thrust sa aircraft natin since hindi siya magkakaroon ng forward movement kung walang thrust. And also, hindi rin makakapag-produce ng lift kung walang thrust. So, let's proceed. So ngayon, when we say power plant, as of now, meron tayong dalawang types ng power plant na ginagamit for aircraft. Meron tayong reciprocating engine. So, like yung nakikita natin dito, ginagamit siya for light aircraft, for Gen Av. And then, meron din tayong gas turbine engine. So, ito naman ginagamit for commercial aircraft. Ngayon, sa course natin, Power Plant 1, throughout our course, ang i-focus lang natin is itong reciprocating engine na ginagamit sa light aircraft. So, history of reciprocating engines, paano ba siya nagsimula? So, malalaman natin. So, before, ang ginagamit ng mga tao na engine ay tinatawag na external combustion engine or steam engine. Ngayon kasi sa modern times, ang engine natin is internal combustion na. Ano ba pinakaiba ng iba? So, from the word themselves, internal combustion engine, meaning yung combustion natin is nag-occur inside the cylinder. So, sa external combustion engine naman, meaning external, yung combustion natin is nag-occur outside sa cylinder. So, ang concept dito, ang basic concept, yung combustion is nag-occur dito and then yun yung nagpapa-move sa piston natin. So, i-discuss pa natin further yung operation niya. And then sa external combustion engine, yung dito, for example dito, ito yung combustion chamber. So, dito nagpo-produce ng heat and then meron tayong water. And then yung water nagbo-boil, so nagpo-produce siya ngayon ng steam. So, yung steam ngayon, mayroong pathway papunta dito sa piston. And then, yung working fluid ngayon dito is yung steam. Yan. So, kung dito, yung pag-combust ng fuel and air, ito, ang nagpapamove sa piston is yung steam. Yan. So, for example, ito. Yan. So, may water. Once na mag-boil, nagpo-produce ng steam. Or kapag kaniinitan, nagpo-produce ng steam. And then, yung steam, yung nagiging working fluid para ma-move tong piston. So, yon yung unang ginagamit, external combustion engines. So, skim lang natin siya. Pwede nyo siyang basahin on your own for detailed information. So, before, by year 1780s, si James Watt nag-design na nag-build ng steam engine that were practical to their use. Usually used for wheeled land vehicles. So, typical steam engines of the mid-1800s were essentially refined versions of Watt's simple external combustion steam boilers. So, kumbaga sa kanya nag-originate yung steam engine, external combustion engine. So, by 1808, Englishman Sir George Cayley, considered as the father of aerial navigation, ang pinaka-notable na ginawa niya lang na ang gumamit siya ng gunpowder. So, kumbaga, yung gunpowder yung sinusunog niya para dun sa steam engine niya. So, 1857, si Felix naman of France. So, meron siyang model before na toy. And then, powered siya by uh, wound spring. So, clockwork powered model. And then, nung nag-try na siya mag-build nung model, full-scale model, Uh, ang ginamit niya is hot air engine. So, yung steam engine available that time masyadong mabigat, and yung gasoline engine or yung internal combustion engine hindi pa masyado established. Ginamit niya is hot air engine. So, similar nag-ooperate sa steam engine. So, hindi siya nag-propel. So, na-considered lang siya as powered hub. By 1848, Englishman William Samuel Hanson and John Stringfellow. So, meron silang model. Gumamit sila ng sarili nilang miniature steam engine. So, meron siyang two propellers and engine. And gearing. By 1869, merong French brothers na nag-attach ng steam engine to a bicycle, creating their first powered motorcycle. 1879, Russian naval officer and engineer Alexander. So, naganap siya ng steam engine. So, yung steam engines ay meron 10 and 20 horsepower for his flight experiments. So, successfully, napalipad niya yung steam-powered full-scale aircraft niya to accomplish a powered hub and not truly a powered flight as had been claimed by the Russian government. So, considered lang siya powered hub although napalipad niya. 1890, French inventor Clement Ader also conducted flight experiments in his steam-powered aircraft. So, kiniklaim din na it was the first successful, or he's the first man to have successfully flown a heavier than air aircraft. His later efforts, also funded by the French War Ministry, resulted in the October 1897 flight of the Avion 3, which is a bat-winged aircraft powered by two 20 HP steam engines. So, external combustion pa rin. But sadly, hindi siya na-considered as flight kasi hindi raw sustained and hindi rin nakokontrol yung model. 1890, Samuel Pierpont Langley, meron siyang model. Tinatawag niyang aerodrome. So, nag-utilize nung steam engines, small steam engines. His highly successful flights of the model aerodrome number 5 utilized a 1 horsepower steam engine. And then his later efforts in manned flight with his full-scale aerodrome, however, used a gasoline-powered engine. So, after some years na to, wherein established na yung reciprocating engine or yung internal combustion engine or yung gasoline-powered engine. And then it became apparent over time that after the many attempts by numerous inventors, that steam-powered engines were far too heavy and produced insufficient power for aircraft. An alternative source of power would have to be found. So, doon na panganak yung internal combustion engines natin. Since, yun nga, na-realize nila na hindi enough yung steam engine, masyado siyang mahina, masyado siyang mabigat para ma-utilize or magamit sa pagpapalipad. So, kailangan na mag-develop ng bago. So, ito na yung internal combustion engines. So, by 1801, meron ng crude version ng two-stroke engine. So, it was initially designed by Frenchman Philippe Le Bon and patented in 1804. So, ano pa lang siya, design pa lang siya. So, in his design, fuel and air was to be ignited in the cylinder. So, ayun na yung pinaka-concept ng internal combustion engine. Sa loob na ng cylinder na i-ignite yung fuel and air instead na sa labas. Or instead din na steam yung nagpa-power. So, atmospheric pressure, a design which most likely would have resulted in a relatively low power output. But unfortunately, before he could build this engine, he was assassinated. So, by 1854, Italian inventors Eugenio and Felice patented a somewhat more useful two-stroke engine. So, in their design, the ignited fuel and air mixture pushed against a free piston within a cylinder which transferred motion to another piston rotating a shaft. So, ito rin yung pinaka-basis or foundation ng operation ng reciprocating engine ngayon. So, merong cylinders na iba pa, then yung motion is nagta-transfer para ma-rotate yung shaft. So, dadaanan natin yan later on. So, by 1858, si Frenchman Etienne Lenoir, if I'm not mistaken, so fascinated by inventing useful devices, he began his work in 1850 on a new type of engine that electrically ignited lighting gas. So, typically used for street lamps with atmospheric pressure air. so thereby producing the expanding gases that could be harnessed for the generation of power. So this engine was completed in 1858 and patented in 1860. And one such engine was fitted to a cart, creating the first direct predecessor through a very crude iteration of the automobile. So yung gawa niya, considered as the first internal combustion engine. And then, by 1866, so ito na yung nalalaman natin ngayon, si Otto, so German inventor Nicholas August Otto. So sa kanya nanggaling yung Otto cycle natin, basis dun sa four-stroke engine na reciprocating engine. And his brother Wilhelm designed the variations of the two-cycle Renoir non-compressed atmospheric pressure gas engine. So although this and other engine design and modification efforts were successful, patent applications were rejected based on the finding that these engines were simply refinements of others' work. So the Otto brothers with Gren then made the critical technical advance of compressing the fuel and air charge before it entered the cylinder. And then later on, Nicholas Otto reorganized his company with his co-worker as president and Franz Rings as chief engineer. Ring's most important contribution was to discard the free piston idea and to focus on one of Otto's engine concept, the four-cycle engine. So before kasi two-stroke lang or two-cycle or two-stroke. But then sa kanya, four strokes na. So four-cycle. So yon in a four-cycle engine, two full rotations of the crankshaft comprised of four distinct cyclic stroke events produce one complete power cycle. So ito na rin yung ginagamit natin ngayon, yung idea dito. So these are the intake stroke, the compression stroke, the power stroke, and the exhaust stroke. Yan. So basically, ayun nga, nakalagay dito sa kanya na uh, base yung auto cycle sa engineering thermodynamic principle na yun. So sa kanya na-recognize kasi nga sa kanya nanggaling yung i-compress yung fuel and air mixture, and then yung invention niya mas efficient, mas powerful, kaya naman na-recognize. And so yan, further ano na naman to, further improvements. So 1885, gasoline fueled motorcycles or yung reciprocating engines natin and automobiles powered by both 2 and 4 cycle engines were being manufactured in relatively small quantities. Manufacturing in volume would not be long in coming, however. So, 1903, the engine used by Langley in the attempted flights of his full-size aircraft was developed by Charles Manley based on substantial redesign of Balser automobile engine. So, kanina na-mention din si Langley dun sa uh, history ng external combustion engine. Before, ni-utilize niya yung steam engine, but now, tinry niya na rin gamitin yung reciprocating engine na internally combusted. And then also, the same year, ito na yung first recognized na flight. So, by Wright brothers. So, they used horizontally arranged inline four-cylinder. Basically, ano lang siya, internally combustion engine. Yun, so, yun yung ginamit nila sa Wright Flyer nila para malipad yung, yun nga, ginamit nila sa Wright Flyer for it to fly. 1904, si Langley ulit. So, meron siyang further aerodrome experiments. So, yun nga, before, nag-utilize siya ng steam engine, but his later efforts in manned flight with his full-scale aerodrome used a gasoline-powered engine. So, it became apparent over time after the many attempts by numerous inventors that steam-powered engines were far too heavy and produced insufficient power for aircraft. Yun nga, so tulad na na-mention kanina, an alternative source of power would have to be found. And then, yun, since then, various advancement and improvements na yung nagawa to arrive to the kind of engine that we use today. So, yun, nag-improve yung power, na output, mas malakas na yung efficiency, yung way ng pag-inject ng fuel, pag-design ng iba't ibang type ng engine, configuration niya, yung cooling, materials na ginagamit for construction, and so on. So, diretso tayo dito sa reciprocating engine principle. So, paano ba nag-ooperate yung reciprocating engine? So commonly, ginagamit ngayon is 4-stroke. So meron tayong 4-stroke ng pistons. Siya yung nag-ooperate ngayon sa engine natin. So proceed muna tayo dito para lang ma-visualize natin paano ba nag-ooperate. So parang ganito yung pinaka-operation. So yung propeller, 'di ba? Siya yung nagpo-produce ng thrust. Parang electric fan, parang nagdadirect siya ng hangin dito and then nagkakaroon ng opposite reaction. Kaya nagkakaroon ng movement yung aircraft. Nagkakaroon ng napupush yung propeller. Imagine mayroong propeller dito, napupush siya ng air dito. Tapos yung aircraft nagkakaroon ng opposite reaction, nagmo-move siya ng forward. So before yun, before makarotate yung propeller natin, makapag-produce ng thrust, meron nagpapaikot sa kanya, which is itong crankshaft. So umiikot yung crankshaft, umiikot din yung spinner, yun yung propeller. And then para umikot yung crankshaft, ang nagpapaikot sa kanya is itong mga piston due to its up and down movement. So yun yung pinaka basic idea. So ano-ano ba yung mga up and down movement na yun? So yung operation niya, nag-i-start siya sa intake stroke. So it begins, so explain ko na lang. So yung una, yung piston natin, supposedly andito siya. So tinatawag na top dead center. So basically pag sinabing top dead center, yun na yung pinakamataas na ma-achieve na itong highest point ng piston natin. So kumbaga kung for example ito yung top dead center, yung piston natin hindi na siya lalagpas dito. So dito siya mag-start sa top dead center and then mag-move siya downward. Ngayon, meron din tayong intake valve, meron din tayong exhaust valve. Then ito yung crankshaft. So, 'di ba, starting here from the top dead center yung piston, mag-move siya pababa. But then before siya mag-move, yung intake valve natin is mag-open. So intake valve diyan dumadaan yung fuel and air mixture natin. So mag-open siya para makapasok yung fuel and air mixture natin inside the cylinder. And then magpapasok siya by movement nitong piston pababa. So parang pag bumaba to, parang madodraw niya yung fuel and air mixture papasok sa cylinder hanggang makarating yung piston dito sa bottom dead center. And then next, ayun na yung first stroke natin. And the next stroke, yung tinatawag na compression stroke. So it begins when the intake valve closes. So pag magko-close na yung intake valve before siya mag-move upwards. So babalik na yung piston back to its top dead center. And then, 'di ba may fuel and air mixture tayo dito. Yung movement ngayon ng piston natin upwards is kino-compress niya yung fuel and air mixture natin. Yan. So this phase of the cycle is used to obtain a much greater power output from the fuel and air mixture once it is ignited. And then next, once na-compress na, mai-ignite ngayon yung fuel and air fuel and air mixture natin through the spark plugs. Ngayon yung operation ng spark plugs, uh, nag nagre-release siya ng electric current para ma-ignite yung fuel and air mixture para magkaroon ng combustion. Yung sa spark plug, if familiar kayo kapag nagluluto, 'di ba, sa kalan, kapag binuksan niyo yung gas, o kapag piniit niyo yung pitan, and then before siya mag-apoy, minsan may posporo, minsan din may parang kuryente para magliyab. So parang yung kuryente na yun similar dito sa operation ng spark plug. So moving on, once na mag-combust na yung fuel and air mixture natin, magkakaroon ngayon ng heat energy. Yan yung magpapa-move dito sa piston pababa. So yun na yung work done by the piston through the combustion of the fuel and air mixture. Kumbaga, heat energy, transforming it into mechanical work para mag-move yung crankshaft, para mag-rotate. So kumbaga, yung combustion yun yung nagkakos para mag-rotate yung crankshaft, para mag-move yung piston downwards. Again, from uh, top dead center to bottom dead center. So close pareho, 'di ba? Yung intake valve. 'Di ba open siya on intake stroke and then once na ma-reach yung top dead center, magko-close siya during compression stroke. So closed siya. And then once na ma-reach na neto yung bottom dead center sa power stroke, doon na mag-start yung exhaust stroke. So from bottom dead center, ah, mag-open ngayon yung exhaust valve naman. So, yung burnt gases, ipupush na ngayon ng piston palabas sa exhaust valve. Yun. Para lumabas na yung exhaust gases. Para mag-start ulit sa intake valve, I mean sa intake stroke para mag-draw ulit ng bagong fuel and air mixture. So, repeating cycle lang siya. So, 4-stroke cycle. So, yun. Merong intake valve, exhaust valve, piston, spark plug, crankshaft, connecting rod, nagko-connect sa piston to crankshaft, and then cylinder kung saan naka-house yung piston natin and kung saan nag-occur yung combustion. So, again, fuel is vaporized and mixed with air before siya pumasok sa cylinder natin. So, again, mix na yung air with fuel in term kapag ano lang siya, kapag carburetor. Meron kasi fuel injected na fuel, air lang yung pumapasok and then tsaka lang siya hinahaluan ng fuel kapag nasa loob na. But dito, carburetor siya. So, minimix yung fuel sa air before pumasok ng cylinder. And then yun nga, force order into a cylinder by the piston. And then bago siya i-compress sa compression stroke, then ignited by the electric spark through the spark plug. So the conversion of the resultant heat energy into mechanical energy and then into work is accomplished in the cylinder. So yun, additional info, reciprocating engine, kaya siya tinawag na reciprocating engine. It is derived from the uh, back and forth movement or reciprocating movement of its pistons. Yun nga yung nagpa-power dito sa crankshaft. So it is this reciprocating motion that produces the mechanical energy needed to accomplish work. Kaya tinawag again na reciprocating engine. Ito, additional info, it is important to note that yung engine natin, 4-stroke siya, but then meron siyang 5 events. So each cycle has 4 strokes, so which are intake stroke, compression stroke, power stroke, and then exhaust stroke. Kapag sinabi namang 5 events, so parang gano'n lang din, but meron dinagdag. So meron kang intake, meron kang compression, and then yung ignition. So ito yung dinagdag. And then power, and then exhaust. So mahalaga to. Tandaan natin to palagi. 4-stroke, 5 events. So, ganito yung operation niya. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, intake stroke, compression stroke, power stroke, and then exhaust stroke. Intake stroke, papasok yung fuel and air mixture, i-compress, i-ignite, burnt gases, power stroke para ma-rotate yung crankshaft. Then exhaust stroke para malabas yung power stroke, exhaust stroke para malabas yung exhaust gases. Continuously happening. Okay, so ganito rin siya. Yan. So, yun yung operation ng reciprocating engine natin. So, meron ding ibang design yung reciprocating engine natin. So, yun yung spark ignition or gasoline engine and then decompression ignition or diesel engine. So, same sila ng operation. Merong intake stroke, compression stroke, power stroke, exhaust stroke. Both types, spark ignition and then yung compression ignition. Ang pinaka-difference lang nila is yung way ng pag-ignite or pag-combust. Kapag sa spark ignition or gasoline engine, merong spark plugs. So, ang nagpapa-ignite sa kanya is yung spark plug by yung electric current. Meanwhile, kapag sa diesel engine naman or sa compression ignition, ang nangyayari doon is kinokompress ng maigi yung fuel and air. I mean, yung air lang. Air lang ang kinokompress. So, kapag ka na-compress, tumataas yung pressure. Pag tumataas yung pressure, tumataas yung temperature. Ngayon, yung build-up ng pressure na yun, ng temperature, enough na siya para mag-combust once na haluan na siya ng fuel. So super compressed na siya, and then super init na. And then, once na haluan na ng fuel, nagkakaroon na ng combustion. So, yun yung way ng pag-combust niya. Kailangan compressed yung air, and then kapag once hinaluan na siya ng fuel, nagko-combust na siya. Hindi na kailangan ng spark plug. So, yun lang naman yung difference nila ng gasoline engine and ng diesel engine. Furthermore, meron pang isang type. So, yung kanina, kung diniscuss natin is 4 strokes. Meron ding existing na 2 strokes. So, ano ba pinagkaiba nila? Sa two strokes, yung 5 events na nangyayari sa 4 strokes, nangyayari din siya sa 2 strokes. Yung 5 events, but then, nag-occur siya sa loob lang ng 2 strokes. So, ganito yung operation niya. Yan. So, intake, compression, power, and exhaust processes occur in only 2 strokes. So, it typically has higher power to weight ratio than a comparable 4-stroke engine. Yan. So, parang ganito. So, magkakaroon ka ng intake agad. And then, pagbaba, papasok dun sa combustion chamber, compression, ignition, combustion, and then exhaust. So, kumbaga, simultaneous sila nangyari yung intake and exhaust. Yan. So, yun ang reason kung bakit mas malakas yung 2-stroke kumpara sa 4-stroke. Kasi, sa 2-stroke, 2 strokes pa lang, 2 strokes pa lang ng engine, ng piston, meron ka ng power na napoproduce. Kumbaga, isang revolution pa lang ng crankshaft, meron ka ng power na napoproduce. Unlike kapag ka 4-stroke engine, kailangan mo pa ng 4 strokes bago ka makapag-produce ng power. 4 strokes equal to 2 revolutions, 720 degrees. Kapag ka sa 2 stroke, 360 degrees, 1 revolution, meron ka ng power. Sa 4 strokes, 720 degrees, dalawang revolution, tsaka ka lang magkakaroon ng power. Kaya mas malakas yung 2 stroke. But then, malakas siya, but then, of course, meron pa rin disadvantages. For example, yung sabi nga dito, inefficient siya. Nagkakaroon ng disproportionate emissions. Kumbaga, parang hindi nagkakaroon ng complete combustion. And also, since mas madalas yung combustion niya compared sa 4 strokes, mas short yung lifespan. Mas, rin siya, mas nagko-consume din ng fuel. Yun yung mga disadvantage niya. So again, 1 revolution sa 2 stroke, meron ka ng power. Sa 4 strokes, kailangan dalawang revolution bago ka pa makapag-produce ng power. So, yun na yung pinaka-operating principle ng reciprocating engine natin. Let's proceed with the types of reciprocating engines. So, for the first one, meron tayong radial engine. So, from the word itself, radial, yung cylinders natin is naka-arrange siya around the central crankshaft. So, paikot. Yun, so usually odd numbered yung cylinders. Arrange in a circle around the central crankshaft. And then due to the small size of crankcase, this engine type had a better power to weight ratio than most other engines of their day. So before kasi ito yung common na ginagamit, pinaka-common na ginagamit radial engines. Before yun. So yung cylinder arrangement niya, meron siyang good cooling airflow and smooth operation. So mamaya i-discuss natin yung airflow, yung cooling. But ayun nga, okay siya for cooling. Unlike sa ibang types na i-discuss natin mamaya. So it provides the greatest drag of all types of engine. So the reason for that is uh, malaki yung frontal area since yung cylinders natin is naka-arrange around the central crankshaft. But ang advantage niya nga, yung sa niya, good power to weight ratio since small yung crankcase, meaning mas magaan, and so mas magaan. I mean, mas maliit yung crankcase, mas magaan. So, yun. Also, isang advantage niya is for length naman. Mas maikli siya compared sa ibang types ng engine. Kasi nga, yung arrangement niya pa-around, paikot sa crankshaft. Hindi siya pa-straight unlike sa ibang types na i-discuss natin mamaya. So, parang ganito yung operation niya. Next type is yung inline engine. So, it is also called as straight type engine because of its cylinder arrangement. So, yun nga, kung kanina, radial engine, paikot sa crankshaft. Dito is pahalang, pa-straight siya, straight line, yung arrangement ng cylinders and ng pistons. So, this engine may be either liquid cooled or air cooled. So, lahat naman possible air cooled or liquid cooled. And aligned in a single row parallel with the crankshaft, which is located either above or below the cylinders. So, kapag yung cylinders ay nasa baba ng crankshaft, it is called an inverted engine. Kapag nasa ibabaw naman ng crankshaft, it is called an upright engine. So yan, inline, naka-straight lang yung arrangement ng cylinders and pistons. So isang row lang siya. So ayun nga, meron siyang small frontal area unlike dun sa radial engine. So it is better adapted to streamlining para yun nga, nakaka-help sa pag-reduce ng drag. So with increase in engine size, the air-cooled inline type offers additional problems to provide proper cooling. So the rearmost cylinders of an air-cooled inline engine receive relatively little cooling air, so inline engines were typically limited to only 4 or 6 cylinders. So basically, kapag ka air-cooled, kapag ka air-cooled yung engine mo, kasi merong liquid-cooled, kapag ka air-cooled, ang disadvantage niya is yung cylinders or pistons na nasa likod, medyo lugi siya sa cooling system. Kasi, kumbaga yung kung may air ka, hindi masyado madadaanan yung engine cylinder sa likod. That's why sinabi dito na kapag ka air-cooled, usually 4 or 6 cylinders yung ginagamit. But hindi siya present kapag ka liquid-cooled. So, air-cooled lang. Next is V-type engine. So, from the word itself, from its name itself, V, pa-V yung arrangement ng cylinders. So, meron siyang angle between yung sa cylinders natin. So, either 45, 60, or 90 degrees apart. So, meron siyang two rows of cylinders. So, they were typically capable of producing more horsepower than an inline engine. And then, the cylinders on a V-type engine could be above the crankshaft or below it. So, similar sa kanina, kapag nasa baba, it is called an inverted V-type engine. And also, it is also considered to provide an excellent combination of weight, power, and small frontal area. Last, horizontally opposed engines. So, these are the most popular reciprocating engines used on light aircrafts today. So, it is also considered as a boxer type or flat type engine. So, it always have an even number of cylinders, and a cylinder on one side of a crankcase opposes a cylinder on the other side. So, even numbers kasi nga kailangan ino-oppose nung isa yung isang cylinder. Kumbaga, yung piston dito, ino-oppose yung piston dito. Kaya rin sinabi na horizontally opposed or opposing engine. And also kaya rin even numbers yung cylinders and pistons. So the opposed type engine has two banks of cylinders directly opposite with each other with the crankshaft in the center. Itong crankshaft. The pistons of both cylinder banks are connected to the single crankshaft. So ito yung itsura niya kapag top view. So hindi siya pantay dito. Ganyan talaga siya. Kumbaga ito, ito. Ang reason dyan is para yung sa pagkakabit niya sa crankshaft. Kumbaga pag ganito kasi yan. Kumbaga para hindi sila naghahati sa iisang space. Yan. I-discuss pa natin yan further sa future lessons and topics natin. So, it has a low weight to horsepower ratio because they have a comparatively small and lightweight crankcase. Its narrow silhouette makes it ideal for horizontal installation on the aircraft wings or twin engine applications. So, ang advantage niya, as mentioned here, is yung low vibration characteristics because opposed engine's power impulses tend to cancel each other. So, yung vibration na poproduce na ito, for example, ino-oppose siya ng vibration na pinoproduce na ito. So, isang advantage niya, low vibration characteristics. Its compact cylinder arrangement reduces the engine's frontal area and allows a streamlined installation that minimizes aerodynamic drag. So, yun, one advantage. Mababang frontal area, less drag. It is also considered as the most efficient, dependable, and economical type of engine available for light aircrafts. Kaya naman siya yung madalas na ginagamit ngayon sa mga aircraft natin. Ito, additional lang. So, meron ding ibang type ng engines na na-produce in the history of reciprocating engines. So, for example, meron ding W-type. Pa-letter W yung arrangement ng cylinders. Merong X-type. So, pa-X naman siya. And then, meron ding H-type. Yan. Additional info. So that concludes yung first part ng discussion natin for history and development of reciprocating engines. I hope natuto kayo. And also, it is very important talaga na i-keep in mind yung lalo na yung yung reciprocating engine operating principle kasi yun yung pinakamahalaga. Paano ba siya nag-ooperate, yung mga strokes, yung mga cycles, yung mga events, yung position ng intake valve, na exhaust valve. So, please keep that in mind. So, yun lang. Thank you and have a nice day.